Welcome. Another live that I wanted to just sort of tap into the energy that we are all experiencing as we are starting to feel the eclipse energy. And I wanted to do this reading and this message live just to see who is out there that may want to chime in and give some of their experiences as well. So I'm going to just give it a few minutes. Two of the topics I want to talk about, are, and there are always things that I have experienced and bigger realizations, aha moments for myself, and also an understanding, a deeper understanding as to why the loneliness card has come out in every zodiac reading that I've done this week and in weeks prior. And what I've come to realize is this is definitely a collective experience that really has to do with, we'll call it parallel realities. It's almost as if many of us on the awakening journey feel like we are in this parallel reality. Hi, can't believe I caught you. I'm insomniac at the moment from the energy buildup. Yeah, oh, I know. It's so funny because I have been still battling pneumonia and healing, getting better, and really tired throughout my day. But then as soon as I go to lay down at bed at night, all the energy just like it pummels me, and I'm constantly getting all of these downloads. I've had a lot of breakthroughs in the last few nights, and that's why I'm on here today to just talk about some of them. So the loneliness card, it came to me as many people, and this is I've witnessed not only with my third eye, but in real time from doing sessions with people and speaking with people that are on the journey or are new to the journey. My Aries sun is conjunct the Aries Libra axis. Oh, yeah. You're certainly feeling this, a big change, huh? There's a lot of big changes, internal changes, which then turn into external changes. So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I've had to actually make some shifts and adjustments and take action on certain things that I was on the fence about this past week, and it like just hit me. And to keep people's privacy, to respect others' privacy, I can't really go into too much in depth on that, but a whole nother wake-up call yet again as to, and this is where we do have these experiences as we are being more aware of the multiple cosmic mirrors that are reflecting to us right now. This is what you need to see. This is what you need to see. This is a pattern of yours. This is something that, these are all things that we need to change internally. And I noticed the loneliness card coming up in the collective, Pluto back squaring me too. Well, and thank you. Yeah, I am sounding better. I'm feeling better too. It's just, it's not a one and done. It's sort of wavy where I'll feel good and then I'll kind of hit a wall. So I'm being forced to be patient as well. But the loneliness card, it really comes to many of us, and there's many, many more in the collective that are going through these giant stages of awakening. And suddenly the reality is not the same. It's not the same as status quo. And so we are walking alongside of our loved ones, our family, our co-workers, whatever, status quo, the matrix, but in a parallel reality. And that feels very lonely because those of us that are in this one stream of consciousness that is awakening, we're not, we're meeting here. We're meeting in certain areas. We might be meeting in dreams as well. But it's this isolation. It's like that. It's almost like a cosmic gaslighting, where you're like, question yourself, question your reality, as to, is it always going to be this way? And what I keep getting is no. And I can tell you from experience, no, it's not always going to be this way. But the reason why we are currently in this somewhat of a holding pattern in this stream of consciousness that is paralleling the realities of many of our loved ones and many others. And it could be people that you did jive with and suddenly you don't. It is that we're also being shown through multiple mirroring effects as to our childhood wounds, our patterns, our coping mechanisms. In many, there's so many of them. And again, I always stress for people to, if you want to get a deeper understanding of these mirrors, it actually is universe's way of showing us from the universe's perspective. We are, even if we are suffering, it's going to cause us what we call suffer. We cause the suffering, but it's going to cause us pain to draw out awareness, conscious awareness of deeper pain points from our childhood. And then it has like a chain reaction. So you can reflect back to maybe your ex or your siblings or your friends and how they have caused this a trigger. These are triggers, right? I've experienced such a big shift this time and been in a heavy awakening since 2013. Yes, I have no one left in my life. Everyone cleared out by spirit. Yeah, and that is happening with many people. And I remember going through that phase myself. That's sort of when I started to really connect with the tarot and other things. And so I spent most of my time really forming a relationship with the cards and with other things, other divinations. And as I started to really uncover and unpack a lot of older versions of me, older layers of me, especially when it came to the way I was relating, or the way I was relating to myself and to others, the way I was or was not being true to myself or being authentic in these connections. It was mostly showing me how I was not, where I wasn't even aware or conscious of that. The more we become aware and conscious of it through being triggered by others, or through just watching and witnessing other people's behavior that is sort of it's like repelling to us, that's actually, if it has an internal effect to us, it is meant for us to see. It is meant for us to, it's meant to help us shift and change things internally. So the more, and it's been that intensity of that energy has been cranked up like several notches in the past. For me, in this past month, I have had so many deeper realizations by leaps and bounds when it comes to relationships with people, specifically men, but not just men, even with my own family and my son and the people that are very, very close connected to me. I've definitely been triggered by childhood traumas. Found out I have abandonment issues, and I was only aware of rejection issues. Yes, the past month, so much, my son. And we can actually, once we get out of the pain, I've kind of gotten to a point where when I do have a situation or something that triggers something in me, yeah, I might you'll feel that jolt of pain, but then I suddenly am like, whoa, here's a whole nother one. And it's we're in this spiral right now that's just going around and around and around, showing us. I wish I had a pen showing us these points, and it's kind of leading us to like core wounds that have developed patterns and coping mechanisms that we truly do want to release and let go of. That's in essence why we are having these experiences, so that we can be free from these patterns and coping mechanisms from childhood wounds. It requires us to actually go back into the wound. Hi, Martin. It requires us to go back into the wound and to sit with that inner child and not reject it, not reject the pain, not sit back and say, it's not fair, this shouldn't have happened. Yes, it happened. It happened for a very specific reason. We signed up to have these experiences, to awaken to higher consciousness. And it is, I'm here to say, it's not easy. It is painful, but there is light on the other side when we get through this dark tunnel that we are in. So it is, I'm enjoying the detachment process and helping me to balance my emotions. It really does not only balance our emotions, but regulate them. So we're not controlling them. We're not turning them off, but we're able to really gauge our experiences better and grow and learn from them, if that makes sense. So really, it kept showing itself to me this morning. The loneliness card, it just continues to come up. We're not alone, but it is, and if we dwell on that, if we dwell on feeling alone, you can follow it deeper to see where that takes you emotionally or mentally, but try not to get stuck into or sucked into like a rabbit hole of sorts. But understand that we're kind of walking this parallel reality alongside of our loved, alongside of others, and it's really interesting. And I know for myself, I've had this understanding for a long time, and I was okay with it, but then there were times where I would be like, all right, universe, I'm so tired of not being on the same page or the same wavelength as my own family. And then I would be shown something that I was missing for myself, that had to do with with me connecting, or and not especially connecting with them, but with me connecting to my life path, to the cosmos, to the whole mission to begin with, as to why I came onto Earth personally. And when I would finally see and I would strip it away, it was almost as if, and I have had this experience before, it's almost as if something would happen to my loved ones or family members where they had a giant light bulb moment somehow. So this is almost ancestral healing. When we do our work, our loved ones, our ancestors, those who are in our bloodline, not just our bloodline, but our soul family, suddenly have their own light bulb moments too. It's really fascinating. Let's see here. I'm nurturing and caring more for myself, giving myself the compassion I usually give others. Yes, definitely regulation of emotion, because I was very wildly dysregulated for the past 10 years. I was wildly dysregulated for most of my life. Glad to see you're on the mend. I had pneumonia twice, hospitalizations both times. Yeah, I have been hospitalized many times for pneumonia. This time I wrote it out at home, but did have to get on antibiotics. But yeah, definitely feeling better. And still not 100%, but way better than last week. Your purpose. I've been dealing with a lot of intergenerational karma. Yeah, we all are. We all are right now, whether we're aware of it or not. It's so fascinating to me. Logically, if we stay in the logical mind about some of the things that we are experiencing right now, we're gonna miss the mark as to why why we're having certain experiences, emotional experiences, or emotional triggers. They are deeply connected to most likely how you experienced your mother or how you experienced your father. Um, and for those of you who are aware of the 7 Essene mirrors, I feel like all 7 are being reflected in all these different moments, or sometimes all at once. And it can be a bit overwhelming, which also is why it's helpful for us to have some alone time to really process it all, you know? Yeah, dysregulated all my life too. Hi from Egypt. Hello, Karma all over here too. Yeah. Yeah, we are all like but it if we look at it in this way of like, well, if I understand what the universe, like from universal perspective, what we are being shown in multiple different ways, and I awaken out of understanding I've had soul retrieval, right? We're finding parts of ourselves that were fragmented away from ourselves from childhood trauma, and it's so many different, it's like I said, all of the 7 Essene mirrors happening this month, and it could be one at a time. There's been a few incidences where I've noticed like 3 of them showing themselves to me all in one fell swoop. Generational stuff. Yep. I'm so blessed to live alone on an island and can handle this process in a safe space. My soul and divine team have been awesome. Yes, same here. And that is a beautiful, thank you for bringing that up, because gratitude has been coming up a lot too. And I can truly, back a few years ago, I remember being really like, I just want like one person in my life that gets me, that I can, and I have had them, but then they've also, we've swam in and out of each other's lives. But I'm so grateful that I live alone also, and that I can have these experiences and process them in a safe space, and have the guidance that I'm given, and still be able to, from time to time, leave my home and have some beautiful connections outside of my home too. But if I were in, if I was married, or if I was like in a really attachment style, like from my old relationship patterns, no way, I wouldn't be in them right now at all. um, Not even our own gunk. Oh my God, that was me too. Just one person to get me. Surrender and forgiveness. Yeah. I'm actually really, really grateful at this time that I am single, and that because these eclipse points, these are going to be, I feel, and I'm going to get a reading on it, but I feel like this is a big turn of events for many of us, big. And with a lot of the, I feel like I've up-leveled in my own life a lot in just the last month or so. A lot of realizations on how I still have like aspects of myself that talk down to myself or second guess myself. A lot of that's going away. A lot of things have been verified and clarified for me now that I wasn't really sure if I was reading it right or not. And so it's like things are just coming full circle for many of us in my life, for sure. You feeling this big too, and up leveling too. Yeah. And it's it seems like every night, it's one of the reasons why it's hard to get to sleep too, is like I'm having more like processing time, but also I get this feeling of like I'm suddenly uplifted, and like I feel very grateful and happy that I've had these experiences. Suddenly, I'm grateful for every shitty experience I've ever even had, and looking forward to what it is that I can create in the future for myself and with others, you know? I'm Scorpio too, so yes, yes, and yes. Clarity coming in too, yes. I'm seeing people and situations exactly for what they are. Yes. And that's the thing, right? There's been a bit of that veil that had been laid upon us, especially during the retrograde seasons, which we still have 5 planets in retrograde, but there was like this trickster energy that you weren't, for me anyway, I wasn't 100% sure, because there was a lot of energy that was pulling in on the psychic senses and reeling you into a certain story or a certain narrative that really felt. That was a thing. The psychic senses, you feel it too. It's not just you're witnessing, but you're feeling a certain narrative or story. But then there's another part that's like, I think that you're missing, there's parts of this story that are missing. And just this week for me, those parts of that story that are missing suddenly came. They're like, here you go, here's the missing pages, I'm sorry, but now the story is complete, kind of thing. I was doubting myself as an empath. I was picking up others and it was confusing. Yes. Karen, hi. Now I know why my last relationship ended. It was so I could be alone to process my journey. Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. I kept picking up fragments too. We are picking up fragments of ourselves, fragments of our souls. And that's a beautiful process. It truly is. It truly is. Yeah, and I have to be really grateful for, like I said, it just keeps coming back to me. I'm very grateful to be where I'm at right now and to be doing this journey solo. Like, I live alone and I have all this time to actually really understand and tap into my emotions, tap into my psychic senses, tap into what did I actually experience, and the bigger picture as to why I had all of these different experiences. And it just took me down from one to the other. It took me down it was like reviewing the tape of my life, and every single trigger point, every single relationship I had, it all makes sense. And I've been doing this for years, but there's more pieces that are coming together. It's almost like we've been playing this script that had missing pages of the book, and it was like, okay, we're trying to navigate in this weird concocted, distorted ride that suddenly it's becoming smoother, it's becoming more there's just a lot of clarity there. I have a lot of Scorpio, even though I'm an Aquarius sun. It's in the 8th house, Scorpio moon. It's been very transformative. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I'm loving the soul searching and the best clarity I've been waiting for years. I know. And that's why I'm so glad I came on live, because I'm like, I know I'm not the only one that's just like, hallelujah. I mean, I've been dancing around my house for the last couple of days. Each time I get something, the guides are like, turn on the music. I'm like, I did it. I understand. It is sort of like a celebration of putting the piece of a puzzle together that, you think and it all sort of makes sense, but there's certain characters for me that have come into my life that really threw a monkey wrench for me. And the number one thing I'm going to point out that I realized is my narrative on how I experienced certain experiences with people always made me out to be like it was all about me and my learning and my faults and my patterns, and some of it actually was why I'm actually a part of somebody else's life, what they're meant to learn from having an exchange with me. And so that's where like that mirror flipped, And I'm like, wow, I'm really hard on myself. I really doubt myself a lot of times. Like, I had to see that too. And I feel like each time I changed my own narrative about myself and my life gets better and better. I get more opportunities and more things start to like, my path starts to unfold again. I just learned I'm really hard and critical of myself too. Like, I always knew I was my own worst enemy, but man, oh man. And there again, that's childhood wounds. Why is it that I have like why is it sometimes I clam up and I know that there's something that I should say, but then there's a part of me that's like, no, don't be what's the word? Polite. I was always raised to be polite and not, because I was always psychic and I was always speaking up and I was always getting in trouble for my words. And so over time, you learn to shut your mouth when you're punished for speaking what is just very obvious to you. So that was definitely something big for me. Why is it so hard to actually get the words out? There's a fear. Not only is there a fear that I'm going to hurt somebody else or I'm going to burst their bubble, which it will, but also of being rejected, persecuted, tossed to the side, which that does happen too. A lot of people don't like to hear the truth, but at the same time, when I hold that truth in, I'm punishing myself. Starts to make sense. My psychologist pointed out positive things to me, and it was such a shock to have. Oh my God, I've suffered punishment since childhood for blurting the truth. Yeah. And so that's why, for many of us, it has been hard for us to speak our truth. Because we had been persecuted, we had been punished, we have had our words taken, we've had our throat chakra basically infiltrated since we were children. Many of us, all of the chakras, but the throat chakra, the expression. And eventually over time, you kind of get to a point where you develop certain coping patterns, but you start to disassociate from totally relating to people. And then our listening, throat chakra also has to do with listening. Our listening skills go out the window too. And either we are just waiting for when it is our turn to speak and we're not actually hearing and having a full dialogue. I remember going through that phase and even hearing myself. I'm like, why do I interrupt people? Why am I I'm not even listening? And I'm so thankful to be on the other side of that, because I had manifested people in my life that were the same, that mirrored that to me, and it was so freaking annoying, and I knew they were mirroring me, and I'm like, I gotta break this habit. Having to wear masks, they're survival skills. Basically, we're being shown and being asked to get rid of we're not living in survival anymore. It may feel like it still, because we're in this parallel reality kind of to other people. But once we are in our root chakra, once we feel safe in our reality, and we have our sacral and solar plexus chakra, where we're feeling more confident and okay with ourselves, which we're working on now, it's smooth sailing. Who cares what reality other people are in? As long as my reality feels good to me, it feels right to me, but I am also being truthful, honest, real, vulnerable, open, not afraid. This is the worst part. I mean, not the worst part. The hardest part is that fear. We still have a little tinge of, this could also go back to past life stuff. I'm always guided to not go there, because the trauma happens here in our childhood also from past life. So if we can just focus on that, because we really want to get in touch with the inner child. The inner child is our spiritual self, our true innocent self that is always free and is always okay. no matter what, right? It is the part of us that is connected to spirit. Don't ever not speak up. It's beneficial to all parties, regardless of how triggering it might be. How we grew up. Yep, it's how we grow. Yes. Yes, isn't it good to have that mirrored experience and work on that aspect? Yep, agree. I've had to do a lot of inner child work. Yeah, we're always doing that. I mean, I came to realize like there's the inner child work for me recently I'm always going back to it, but I'm having bigger realizations. But it's not as hard or painful as it once was because I'm not resistant to it. First of all, I'm intrigued, I'm fascinated, and I'm like, wow. My father's not alive anymore, but he speaks to me often. He visits me a lot. And from that perspective, I still feel his soul essence, but I don't have the actual character, him in form and the character he played for me when I was growing up. So it's really interesting to have that dialogue with with his essence from a different. And I've been having this for the last 5 or 6 years, but. Yeah, he really, because a lot of not all of it, it goes mother and father. And then I had, stepfather. We have other people that come in and cause like our deep, deep trauma as well. So it's just, but it's all written in the stars, man. We were all signed up to have these experiences to elevate and wake up out of them. We are all mirrors for each other. Absolutely. Oh my God, my father has been visiting me yesterday. Yeah, I was visiting you yesterday in spirit. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we're getting a lot of visitors from our ancestors. I have my grandparents. Yeah, just these last couple of days. Now, my dad's he taps in even with the cards. He was a Scorpio also, and big sense of humor. To put it in perspective for you guys, when I read. So if any of you know who Alan Alda is, like if you are from the era where MASH was a television show, that is a spitting image of my dad to the T, and the sense of humor as well. Your Nans and brothers too. Yeah, they're always with us, but we're really like they're tapping us on the shoulder like, hey, yeah, they're guiding us through this soul retrieval. Yeah, that's my dad. That was my dad when he was alive, and he still has that sense of humor. That's the essence, his soul essence. So it's a trip, man. It really is. This whole journey is quite the trip, for sure. And I am actually really looking forward to, there were times, I have to be honest, I think actually why I got into astrology and even reading tarot was there was a tinge of me that was always fearful of what's next because of what's going on in the world stage. I know in 2019 is when I started reading tarot for the public, and I kept pulling like, oh my God, something big is going to happen, something really big is about to happen, and damn if it didn't. And then when all that went down, I started to feel nervous for when I feel these big waves of change coming. Now I don't feel nervous. I know that it's not going to be easy for humanity all the time. It's not going to be easy for the collective all the time, but the more of us who are clearing the clutter out of our own life path, all out of our own stuff, and really tapping into our higher self, having our higher guidance and trusting our intuition, and trusting how we are molding and shaping reality, not only for ourselves, but how we mold and shape reality is also assisting others. We are truly, and this is why the guides in the beginning said, name your channel and your business, be the change. That is it in an essence. We are creating the change. But we got to get out of the way, because what we were creating before was we're not trusting, we're doubting, we're always, triggered and wounded, and so we really had to like see all that and get in touch. We still are seeing all that, getting in touch with those aspects of ourselves that just need our love and need to know that we're aware of them, So wow. Honesty. There you go. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. We're getting real with ourselves, real and honest, down and dirty. And it's beautiful this time. MASH. It's beautiful. I'm really loving it. Where there were times where, we have to have a lot of humility on this journey as well, and be humbled many times as well. Our ego gets pummeled over and over and over again, but it's a good thing, really. But it's like it's been going through the washing machine and swirling around through all these energies, and finally coming out thinking you're squeaky clean, and you're not. It's like dunk again. But I feel like many of us are at this point where we're like, I know for myself, I don't have that fear, or that even that tinge of fear of what the future could possibly look like anymore, because I'm creating it. It hasn't happened yet. What is it that I want to create? Peace. Inner peace, as within, so without. I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. Exactly what we're doing right now. We have been doing. We have been getting real and honest with ourselves and releasing all the negativity, releasing the stories, releasing the negative perspectives, releasing the expectations of a specific outcome. I used to have that, like the ego gets in there again. I know I can create my reality, and I'm going to create this. No, I finally was humbled to the point where I know nothing. And if I continue to get in my own way, I am doing myself and others a disservice by not sitting back and letting life show me, let it guide me to the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. Along the way, also stripping away all these old scars and wounds and other things. Yeah, I love that color too. Peace. And when we're able to do that, when we're able to comfortably trust life, trust that life is going to guide us, and we're not even paying attention. Here's the whole competing and here's the whole thing about comparing our lives to anybody else, which we were taught to, we were programmed and conditioned to. And that is also a survival skill, is if I don't know what to do, what's everybody else doing that seems to be feeling okay in life, right? Absolutely handed everything over and asking for assistance when I find it hard to ask for help. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting that mirror right now with people. It's on the flip side though. I've had people that have had to ask me for specific favors and help, and I'm like, sure, yeah, but then they don't give me the detail as to how much the help they need. And I have to find myself asking questions like, it's mostly like with taking care of people's pets and stuff while they're away doing stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, if you don't mind, I forgot I had this, I forgot. And I'm like, I know you didn't forget. I used to play that part too. Like, I'm so afraid. I'm going to ask you if you can help me, but I'm not going to tell you the grand scale of all the help that I actually need. So I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that as it's almost like old versions of ourselves from years ago are creeping up in other people. I don't know if anybody else is having that experience or not, but that's definitely been an experience of mine. Yes, I feel strangely calm, and the fear about the unknown in front of me is now a childhood excitement for adventure. Yes, exactly how I've been feeling. And like I said, just even the last couple of nights after I had a real big, not a real big, I just had a big experience with another that really like took me into a place that I ended up getting sick with pneumonia, and I had a whole like, oh my God, I'm doing it again kind of realization. And through all that, once I started feeling better, suddenly floods of information, my cat's doing something, floods of realization and information were like coming into me, and it was really actually helping me heal. And I'm just like, yes, just dancing around my house like, oh my God, I'm getting it, I'm understanding, like not even caring about like having being drugged through the mud yet again. Like, my ego is not attached to any story anymore. I'm so grateful that I'm really getting it, like understanding like what I'm being shown right now. That is, it's that upliftment. It has me feeling like something really amazing is about to happen. I know it. I feel it. And I'm not even, I used to be one like, what is it? What is this real amazing thing about to happen? Now I'm like, I don't care, because I know it's going to be amazing. It's going to be way better than anything that my mind can think of. Letting go of the stories is so unburdening. Yeah, it is. Well, that's the reason why I think it's called enlightened, because you feel lighter, and you feel lighter, freer. You feel free. You end up dedicating a lot of time and energy to others, and it can be physically, mentally, and spiritually usurping. Yeah, it's draining. That's definitely something I've been aware of my whole life, but I think I had to have multiple experiences to show me in how many different ways, how many different patterns I have, how many different ways I can get swayed into giving of my energy and having it be drained of me. There's more than just one way, and usually it brings me to my heart. It's usually someone else that is definitely in need, in big ways. We've had a lot of people with trauma in my life, and my dad, he died a horrific death, and yeah, so like it's showing me these certain ways where I can get pulled into, hypnotized even, seems like, into what just wanted to pop out at me, adversity. Hypnotized into almost repeating a pattern again. And I'm so grateful. It happened back to back to back. After I understood it, like fully saw it in this way and that way and this way and that way, then there were others that were like trying to call me, and I'm like, oh no, oh my God. It was like the universe just rained down on me, like, here it all is. It's all here. It was wild and crazy, and it was just a lesson, because then when there were a couple people where I tried to call back just to see if they were okay, and it's hard when you want to like at least just check. Look what we got at the bottom, loneliness. You want to just check in on somebody, but my guides were like, nobody's at the other end. No, everything's fine. It was like a fire drill. That's what it was. I had like a fire drill of energies come at me all at once. Excuse me. I don't know if this incense, the way of regret, it came out. I know that I cannot change the past. And here's the other thing for me, and I feel like this is for many others as well. Especially those of us who are empaths, which is probably all of us, that give of our energy and then we have it sucked dry. We haven't been able, because we're not really meant to save others, rescue others. But when somebody is really suffering and you feel like you can help them, you get sucked in, right? And then, but you can't even help them. And there's been many in my life that have died. Some have taken their own lives where I was involved trying to help them. So there's where that regret, there's where I've been, really, it pulls on your heartstrings. It's hard and especially in the, what I'm doing now in the world is working with people going through a spiritual awakening. I have to be prepared. I have to break those patterns. They're codependent patterns also, so that I can truly help someone. But I have to also take care of myself, my energy. I do, but I'm being called to be a better observer. Definitely. Well, I think we all are. Definitely become a better observer. I know that I cannot change the past. So some of us may be tested on things that we have guilt or regret. I regret not being able to help someone better than, but that's not like, here we go with the stories again, in a perfect world, sure, I'd be able to help everybody from harming themselves or going down a dark path, but I'm not doing them any favors. We all sign up to learn our lessons and grow on our own path in our own unique way. And it's definitely not for me. It's not for any of us to sacrifice ourselves, sacrifice our lives, sacrifice our energy in order to try to help someone else on their dark night of the soul. Now that's different than, and I've been asking that, like there are many souls that incarnate here that their life path is to save people, like firefighters, police officers, emergency technicians, EMTs, all of that. If we didn't have those types of souls where they are jumping into a burning building to save others, they are giving of themselves, they're a unique dynamic, very unique life path. And thank God we have those souls on this planet. Otherwise, like nobody would really give a crap, or we would all be just giving too much of ourselves away. So we all have to realize that we all have our own unique position and our energy. And if you're one that I will jump in a burning building to save just random strangers, then that is your life path. But I know that that's not mine. Not that yeah, and that's a hard one too, because there's a part of me that would. Truly, but there's another bigger part of me that's like, you're a mother, you're a grandmother, you're going to sacrifice your whole family, yourself with your family for strangers. That's not my life path. Helping oneself first is not selfish. No, not at all. Absolutely not. And actually, for me is that healthy boundaries, finding the healthy, where is the line? Where do I draw the line? And that's where I've been learning and finally I understood what life had been teaching me, where to draw the line. So we find ourselves back at loneliness overall. I know that I'm never alone. Self-esteem below that. I possess the gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. I feel like a lot of the reasons also that we have not connected in the physical fully to our soul tribe yet, we will be, is because we still are working on, as I was saying, our self-worth, our self-esteem. Those kinds of patterns are coming up as well through triggers and just realizations that you know what, I am good enough and I am my own worst enemy, and I still do have negative self-talk. I've been doing a lot of readings lately for people, and one of the common things that I find just in conversation, not even in the cards, is how people either they have somebody else that seems like they're being mean to them, like calling them names, calling them certain things. And then I ask them, could it be there's a part of you that is actually feels that is true, meaning there's an aspect of you that actually talks to yourself that way? And every single one of them said yes. I said, that's a mirror. So take those people, I mean, not to say that what they said and did was okay, but just take them out of the equation for a minute and see what the universe is really showing you. You with you, how do you talk to yourself? How do you see yourself? That is the biggest cosmic mirror of all. On that ego, yes, my guides have been telling me that time alone to still work on the things before I meet my soul tribe. Yep. Yeah, and think about it. I'm glad, because I want to be in my best energy. I want to be in my best light. I want to be my own best friend, so that when I do connect or reconnect with other humans, that we're not reflecting and projecting crap to each other like we have been our whole lives, basically. So it warms my heart to know there are so many other people that just get this whole understanding of projection and reflection and not taking things so personally anymore. That's really a lot of my readings. So not everybody resonates with my readings because they do go in depth, and they're not sugar coated. And some people need the sugar coating because that's where they are on their journey. I'm not going to judge anybody there, but I'm not the reader for anybody that's looking for something that's not true. Really. Challenging my negative self-talk is top priority at the moment. Yeah, and it should be for all of us. Definitely been a big light bulb moment for myself. Each time I'm kind of surprised, but then I'm not. Because we can't be consciously aware of everything. There's so much to us that has lied dormant, has stayed in the subconscious for a long time, and it is all coming to the surface now, which is a beautiful thing. And that's another reason why we're alone right now. There's very few, it seems, that can get the deeper dive. I know, but I am witnessing more and more actually starting to really get it. And I don't know, it used to be where I'm like, I'm going to teach you and I'm going to draw diagrams and I'm going to explain it all to you. And I used to be that person, and I stopped. The guys are like, all right, enough. When it's their time to get it, your words are going to click in their mind, even if it's been years since they've heard you talk. It's going to be like, oh, that's what she meant. Everybody's got to learn in their own way. I had to learn in my own way. And when I revisited certain teachings and certain things that used to kind of like, they would piss me off because they were over my head at the time. Now it's like, oh my God, I totally get that. I know why, so-and-so said that. And that's why the spiritual journey, and that's why spiritual teachings, and some of them will take you so far. It's necessary. We need to have the love yourself and the light and love only and all of that to actually work through rising out of the the density. But then when you get up there, you can't stay in the ethers forever. Everything is like a Disney world, you know, it's like a Disney movie, and you feel so much love and bliss for everyone and everything. And then you get dropped back down onto planet Earth. You're like, what is going on? And that's when it's time for you to learn a little bit more about life and the journey, right? Did you say you're a Scorpio? Do you have Gemini moon and rising? No, I'm Scorpio sun, Leo moon, and Libra rising. Scorpio. Yeah. And I'm witnessing some in my family now, even that are in that cosmic bliss state, and I love to witness that. Like, I remember those times, and I can get there too from time to time. That's fun. Just, I'm like, oh, wait for it, because you know it's not gonna last forever. And so I always just give a warning. I think it was the Cancer reading that came out that reminded me of that. Stay grounded. Because when you work on the root chakra, when you stay connected to the earth, when you're up in the higher chakras, in the ethers, in the third eye, and you're seeing things and everything's like a beautiful cosmic dance, you're still grounded onto the, like, you're still firmly planted. That is important. And that's part of the journey to learn those things too, you know? We've all been there. We have fertility. This is a beautiful card. And this is sort of where we are right now. Our energy is at a place where we are at a very fertile state of creation for ourselves. And see how the heart chakra is on point, and it's emitting this signal out into the universe. I just got the chills. So being aware of that, especially through eclipse season, as we, you know, comb through the little last, I hope, but, you know, the remnants of the past and our past patterns and this is especially important for the negative self-talk and being honest with ourselves, seeing the truth and the reality, and not falling victim to guilt trips and other things. We are creating. I mean, we're always creating, but man, oh man, this is a powerful time, and we actually have a lot more influence on the energy now than we have in a long time, if ever. And that is another important factor here. We can see that time is speeding up. We can see that energies are shifting on the planet and through humanity and everything. So if we bring it from the macro down to the micro to ourselves, we do have influence on the energy. We do have influence not only in our own path, but whatever we are creating in our path is a ripple effect out to others. And when we resonate with others that are doing the same thing, that magnifies that even bigger. And this is how we can really create beautiful change. Truly. For many. But it all starts, it all starts within. And that spark of passion turns into a giant flame. Yeah, we add to the collective when our vibe, we add to the collective whether our vibe lifts or goes down. Think about it. Like when you're in a pissed off mood, or you're in a lower density, didn't you kind of connect, or you walk out your door, or don't even have to walk out your door, everything around you seems dismal and dense and dark too, or people around you are also in a bad mood, or things on social media or something, everything's negative. That is a ripple effect that way too. Add to the light or to the dark. That's right. So that is our responsibility, to be aware of that at all times. That's our consciousness. But we are becoming more aware of ourselves, consciously aware of ourselves in so many different facets, so many different angles of awareness. And that's beautiful. That is powerful, really. Passion ignited, stand your ground. And what we're standing our ground for fell under peace. Not to be, because we know that collectively there will be times where there's the world of duality. We don't have to fall for it. We're aware of like duality, and there's going to be things that are going to try to pull us down. But if we stand our ground with that fire, that flame lit within ourselves, that no more, I'm no longer going to be pulled into that energy. You can say and do whatever you want. I'm standing my ground. I know the truth. I know my truth. And my truth is that I want peace. I am peace. And I'm releasing negativity at all costs. Because the truth is, and this is a mantra, I don't even know. Okay, they're telling me I should share. Okay. I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, because I am not suicidal, never have been suicidal. But it's been an analogy that, again, it might be from my dad or just the dark Scorpio in me. When things are really hard for me, or I feel this overwhelming sense of fear, one of the things that creeps up in my head is, well, I could die tomorrow. And if that's the case, what are you afraid of? If that's the case, why don't you just go for it? So that was more of my way to empower myself into certain things that were hard or difficult, and it worked. And it still will work if I need to use it. But that's only you never know. You truly never know how much time you have on this planet. So why not really live in your passion? Truthfully, stand your ground. Not backing down for anything or anybody anymore. Let's see why regret's out here. And one of the reasons why I say that is because I've had 2 near-death experiences in my life. 2 almost fatal car accidents where I survived through. And 3's a charm, right? So always well, you never know how much time you have. I grew up with a Sag father and 3 Scorpio mom and 2 bros, narcs, and very abusive experience. Oh, yeah. My father is a Scorpio. My mom's a Pisces. My grandfather is a Scorpio. I didn't really have abusive, I had the duality. My mother, both my parents met in the 60s in art school, so they met in the hippie era. And when my mom got pregnant with me, my dad got drafted into Vietnam, so he didn't get to see me being born. And they were both in that peace, love era. And then when my dad came back from Vietnam, he was different. He was a changed person and was drinking a lot more. And that was the path. He then resonated more with his Irish Catholic side of the family, big family, the McHugh family. And my mom was more her family. She grew up with musicians and artists. So they stayed married and had me and my brother and sister, but by the time I was 10, they divorced. So I had split energy. I had the more conservative, strict on the dad's side, but not fully. I always could tell he still stayed in the art world, but more in corporate. And then I had the other extreme. They were extremes, let's just say. And it really colored my world in a very unique way. I was grateful to have that. I was never pulled in one direction. It really kept me on my own path, if that makes sense. It kept me true to myself. I could see both sides and the duality of it all. Anyway, let's get back to the cards here. Regret. Oh, oh. My mom and dad were married as teens too, because I was born and he didn't have to go to Vietnam because he was a baker. Good for him. Yeah, that's another ancestral trauma thing that I had to follow in the beginning stages of my awakening journey. Is the men in my family, and all the various wars that they had been in. My grandfather was in World War II. And in 2019, I was invited to go to France, to a beautiful town, Amiens. I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but my brother and I met up with my brother there, and we went to Normandy, Omaha Beach. It was the 75th anniversary of D-Day. And this was just so random too. It wasn't anything I planned. It just happened. And no, I was born in I was born 71. It just happened that I was in France, and before I went, I did some research on what beach my grandfather had. He was a paratrooper. He had parachuted out of the planes onto the beach on D-Day. And so it was interesting. Like, I was already in this awakening in my psychic senses, and I'm like, why am I like being taken down this avenue? And I was shown like to see the patterns that were developed in the men in my life on my father's side, but also on my mother's side, my grandfather on my mother's side, and what that did to the men. What that did not only to the men, but to the family, to the women, to the children, and how it has caused so much of the trauma that we are clearing up now. War, 1971. Brother is 11/11, 70. Oh, he died at 41. I'm November 9th. Pluto in Virgo, babe. Yeah, that's right, Martin. My Pluto is in Libra in the 12th house. One of the things that we are working through is regretting being in the waiting game. So much time has gone by. We cannot change the past. Oh my gosh, my dad died at 51 too. Huh. See, there's so many similarities here. That's so interesting. Wow. Interesting. Yep. Alcohol. Me too. Wow. Wow. See, no wonder we connect. There's so many similarities. I always find it fascinating how many people that resonate with me or contact me for readings and things have very similar, there's a similarity somewhere, and it's usually in the father. Lately, it's been a lot of father similarities. You thought that about me? Yeah. Yep. I know I cannot change the past and the waiting game. I think that we are no longer waiting for our turn. We're no longer waiting for something to change and turn. I think we're finally getting rid of the regrets and the guilt and the shame and the blame, and we're turning things around within ourselves. We're turning this this timer over. It's a new time. It's a new time for us. Biggest message here, bottom of the deck, for both overall energy, loneliness, with suffering in silence. I think this is what we are really working through right now. All of the things, and because this comes up for me a lot. And I'm like, I get it. I don't always talk about what I went through, because why bring up the past again, right? Well, it's important to, with the proper, even just with myself or with the proper, others, so that you can pull out anything that was still causing suffering and bring light to it. It's no longer silent suffering. And it's actually, it doesn't even feel like suffering to me anymore, but it's showing where we had been suffering in silence most of our lives, which is another reason why we have felt like maybe our whole lives we've been on this parallel reality to other people, not quite fitting in, into the mold, not quite fitting in with our age group, not quite fitting in with the status quo, can blend in, sure, can, some of us can blend in better than others, but ultimately it's like there's a deeper aspect there our whole lives that have been suffering in silence, and this is what's being dredged up to the surface right now for all of us. Definitely. I have that deck too. Was getting suffering in silence for so long. Yeah. And that's what we're working through right now. So to recognize that, we can tell ourselves till we're blue in the face that, I had friends and I had connections and lovers and all that, and I had I had great experiences. But there was definitely, I'm not denying, there was a big, huge aspect of myself that went unrevealed because it didn't feel safe to talk to anybody about. I think I had tried a few times, and if I wasn't given the space or the time or the agency or the witness to the depth of what I was trying to express, I went through, like, when you're like with friends, you're like, yeah, I had that experience. They're like, oh, me too. But they're not giving you that space to like actually talk about that pain. That caused more pain so it was easier to just stay silent than to express what we had gone through. Triumphant success below that. Very fitting here. My mom was an adopted child and ended up marrying one. Her parents were heavy alcohol and drug abusers. I came from a fairly balanced family. I've never quite fit in, been on the periphery forever. I have autism and really suffer a lot of confusion regarding social stuff. My mom has a good friend that they say is on the spectrum of autism too. I forget what there's a name for Asperger's, I think it was, which is like a social anxiety, and I see it right away. But I also, and so does my mom, we see that as being something special and unique and different. And one of the things that I was blessed with, I will say, life was not all bad. What I was blessed with was that I think because having the duality in my life that I did, and I was able to really connect to my true self a little bit more, for the most part, I was accepted a lot of times, like through high school, mostly through high school. I had a good experience in high school, as being a different person. And I had like spiked hair. I just like flared it all out. I expressed it in fashion and music, but eventually, and that's why some of my oldest friends go all the way back till I was like 15 years old or 14 years old. And they're like, you haven't changed a bit, Paige. So it's nice to have people actually see me. I've been able to just be me. But then through that journey, I had lost parts of myself through relationships and marriages. So you can like be real, and then that's where I would lose myself, is in those romantic or intimate relationships. I lost a part of myself. So definitely big lessons to be learned from myself in understanding. And I think that clarity right here is, yeah, won't do that again, right? No, they no longer use the term Asperger's, just prefer spectrum. Yeah, I mean, I don't even like to use any terms or diagnosis personally. I think that everybody is beautiful and unique, and we are all different flavors and colors. And God, if everybody was the same, you know how boring and bland life would be? The social norms, the social status, the schools, the governments, all of these things, they want us to mold. They want us to fit a mold and all be kind of in this neat little perfect presentable box. But that's not truth. That's not reality. That's not actually how we're meant to be living here. So I think that this is a good reading, a good message, a good meeting up together here. Venus, Pisces in the 12th house, and lose myself in relationships, hence long periods of singledom between. I haven't fully lost myself. There's a couple. And I had to really go back there too. And there were each relationship, and I didn't have a whole lot, but each male relationship aspected a different aspect of a father wound or even an ancestral wound, and they were all different. Some, like my son's father, turned into an addict, like my father had been. Others turned into, they would always meet me where I was at, and then they would flip after like a year or two. The other one turned into like a severe conservative after, you know what I mean? Like, so it was like I got roped into this bubble of meeting me who I was, and then they would flip the script on me, but I was already sucked in. Like I already fell in love with them, and so it's like, and I'm a Scorpio. I'm a ride or die, so I wrote all out. These are all long-term relationships, 15 years, 10 years. We're no butterflies. We can't be, no, we're butterflies. We can't be pigeonholed. That's right. That's right. 3 in particular were narcissists like my mother, but all addicts like my dad and brothers. Yeah. But now we witness those patterns. We see that. And that's what we needed to get and heal that, so that we don't recreate those things again. Remember, we are very fertile right now. So I do have to go, because I have to go let my sister's dog out to go potty, and I have to go let my neighbors, I have to go feed my neighbor's cat. I'm the pet lady today. So I'm doing a bunch of people pet favors today, and want to make sure I take care of all the fur babies today. But it was so good to like share energy with you guys and like do this reading and just exchange all of this. I'm glad that we are all kind of gliding along in this parallel reality together. So we are not alone, right? This loneliness card can go away soon. So yeah, you guys enjoy the rest of your day or your night. Probably night for you guys, and it's rainy and dark here, so it seems like night. The 6th house stuff. Yep, taking care of all the fur babies. But it was amazing having this time with you guys. So thank you very much for joining, tuning in, and conversing. Oh gosh, you're up in the middle of the night. Where are you from again? 3:42 a.m. Secret Soul Survivor. Australia. Okay. Yeah, you are all the way on the other end of the world. Wow. Well, get some sleep. Try to get some sleep. But thank you for participating, and maybe this will help you kind of go into dreamland now. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much. Love to you all. Take care. I'll be back. Bye.